Hey YouTube, how you doing? This isn't an official retro unscripted episode, but rather an attempt at gameplay without a gameplay device or a gameplay capture device. What I'm playing today is track and field for the NES using a traditional NES controller. None of this turbo stuff. And I'm going to show you guys that not only can you play track and field with a regular controller, but it actually can be done pretty well. I will start on game B because that's the one that's a little more difficult. And we'll start right with the 100-meter dash. Alright. Fingers here. The key, of course, is to not look at the screen, but rather just focus on button tapping. $9.15. Not quite as fast as I did in an earlier take, but still not too terrible. See how I do on the long jump here. Ooh, that's terrible. I jumped too far back. Let's give a little sound here. That's a little better. Much more difficult to play on the side than it is to play right in front of the TV, but let's try this one more time. That's a foul. Yuck. At least I would have been over 10 there had it worked. Whew, alright. 110-meter hurdles, right? Alright, let's try this. That's a little better, 11.45. That ties the record I set when I was messing around with this a bit earlier. The earlier video that I had shot, I played on difficulty A, which is a little too easy. That's 100 meters. I could not do that when I recorded earlier, so I'm proud of that. 100.4. So of course now I'm not even going to bother trying to throw further. I'm just going to get my extra 6,000 points and get out of here. If you don't know how to do that, of course, just run to the line like you normally would, and then set your angle all the way to 80. So just hold your throw button down all the way until it won't go anymore. And then you'll get an extra 3,000 points per throw. Reason for that, of course, is because you only get scored on your best throw. The others don't count. They get thrown away. So you might as well get some points out of them to increase your total. Let's see. So 54,000 points through the first few events. This may be a little more difficult. This is the Skeet shoot. So 18,100. Of course, the trick with that is if you get all of the Skeets, make sure that you shoot the UFO on the left-handed target so you can get the bonus bird at the end and get some extra points. There's the UFO. And there's the bird. If you use a turbo controller, which again I don't recommend, sometimes you can actually hit the bird twice, either the left or the right, which gets you extra points. But again, using turbo controllers, that's for suckers. So 18-1 across the board. So that's an easy 50,000 points right there if you can get the 18,000 each. Here comes the triple jump. Something I did last time, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it again, is if you are so powerful with your first 2 jumps that you wind up in the field of play where they measure you, you foul. We'll see if I can do that again here. I don't think I'll be able to, though. Oh, that's going to be a good one. 22:15. That is a record. And keep in mind, I played for a good half hour before I actually started to shoot this, so. Oh, this might be it. Not quite, but still pretty close. As long as you don't wind up on the field of play in your second jump, you're still free to go. That's not going to happen this time. $21.4, so I actually got progressively worse each time, which is bound to happen. Ugh. So that's 144,000 points already. Alright. This is where I tend to struggle a little bit. This is the archery event, and it's because when it's set to hard like this, the target comes from both sides. Let's see. There we go. I needed that one in the worst way. So 3440. Game mode B is a lot harder than game mode A. Game mode A, you can get 500,000 points easy without too much concern. But game mode B picks up in the later rounds of game mode A when the game starts to get more challenging. This challenges you right out of the box. Of course, the key to archery, aside from judging the wind properly, is getting the proper angle down or holding the button down long enough. 5.0 degrees is really where you want to go. Anywhere between 4.76 and 5.28 gives you a chance of getting a bullseye. But the wind definitely complicates matters. There is no question about that. Because if the wind is going up 7, then you have to delay at some point, or you have to shoot earlier, depending on where the target is coming from. Boy, I'm really struggling this time. Now there's the cat. And I got it. Wow, I've never done that before. I'd heard about it. Never actually did it. Of course, now I'm just screwing the pooch as far as the extra targets go. But if you get no bullseyes until the very last target and you hit a bullseye there, that cat comes out. If you hit that cat's balloon, that is 1,000 extra points right off the top and 3 extra shots. So here's the high jump. It starts at 2.32 meters. And the key with the high jump, of course, is that if you hit all 3 attempts, you get an extra 3,000 points. So there is incentive for you to do it, not just because you get points for every completed attempt, but also that you get that 3,000 points at the end of that rainbow. Looks like it's about 5,000 points an attempt at this point, which is not shabby. So if you hit all 3, which I just did, here comes the spaceman. If you get all 3 attempts and the spaceman, that is 18,000 points, which can boost your score considerably. All right. Let's see if we can do better on the 100 meters here. Again, not looking at the screen, it's not worth it. 895. So close to the 8.9 that I said earlier, but still anything under 9 seconds is quite good without a turbo controller, of course. Let's see if I can do better on the long jump this time. Oh boy. Now, of course, the qualify is already 8 meters, so you really can't screw around here. Here's 10.49. Interesting to note that in the arcade, getting over 10 is really hard to do. I've never seen it done. I'll pause it here, but getting over 10 in the NES version is not only possible, but actually pretty common, both with and without turbo controllers. If you have button tap speed that's fast enough. 10:56, that ties the record that I had set before filming. So that puts me over 200,000 points already, and I'm only 10 minutes into gameplay, so that's not too bad. 110 meter hurdles. I'm only going to do a couple of playthroughs, a couple of rounds here for you. Not as much of a fan as the 110 meter hurdles when not playing in an arcade, because keeping the controller still is kind of a pain in the rear end, and you need to use both the up button. I'll stop there. The up button as well as the run buttons each time. So what happens is your controller will move on you, and that prevents you from keeping the button tapping consistent. Back to the javelin throw we go. I don't think I'm going to break 100 meters again. I've only done that a few times when I've been playing. I'm always consistently right around 98, 99. So getting over 100, again, without a turbo controller, is something that I haven't done often. And that's a 45-degree throw. "100 meters again." You guys are a lucky bunch. I don't know whether it's because I'm on camera or just because the sun's out or whatever it is, but I'll take it. So because I got that, let's go ahead and get my free points. Now, interesting, in this game, it's a UFO. In the arcade version, when you throw 80 degrees, you actually hear a duck quacking when your javelin strikes it, like a bird, as if you hit a bird up in midair. So let's get out of halftime here and let's do the skeet shoot one more time. Oops. And I actually didn't qualify there. So key to keep your concentration on this, because missing just one skeet can completely throw you off, as I just demonstrated. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. Of course, for the skeet shoot, I actually hold the controller in hand. Got it! If you can hit that bird twice, which I just did, and it's actually on video, so I can prove that I can actually do it, you can get 5,000 points per hit, so that boosted me to 23,100. You guys are wicked lucky. Thank you. That was not a very good jump, but that's okay. In the triple jump, anything over 21 is really good, so I'll take the 2186 without a problem. Again, with the triple jump, you get points per attempt, so you don't want to throw too many away if you can help it. $22.20, that's another record. I said I was going to stop after this round, but at this point I don't think that I should. Wow. So I'm up over 300,000 points already. Now, when I was, the last attempt at filming this that I had, the high score was 476,000 that I had set. Wind is down 3 here. So this might be a little difficult. Oof. Oh, that's helpful. Oh boy, I need a bullseye. Nope, fell just short. I needed 3,000, I got 2940. I can do better though. The key, of course, is to not miss badly. Here's a bullseye. Oh, what did I do? Good enough. Boy, this is a lot harder. Of course, the pressure's on. There's always one of these events in these games that I always struggle with. In the track and field arcade game, it was always the shot put, or not the shot put, but the hammer throw. In this game, without question, it's archery that is my, if you'll pardon the pun, my arch nemesis. Please don't throw things at me. Nah, it was good enough. The key to success in this game, if you want to get a high score, isn't necessarily rapid button taps and expending yourself early. Much like other Olympic events, you have to have endurance and the ability to play for a long time without your fingers getting too tired. One of the other differences between this and the arcade original is that in the arcade original you always used to, after completing a height, you used to go up by 2/100ths of a meter. And in this game you just do the same each time, so you basically get 3 shots at it. If you can hit all 3, you get extra points. If not, it's okay as long as you hit it once. So that's 2 rounds of track and field for you. It is very possible to play with a standard controller. I just happen to have played in the arcade for a long time, so my finger speed, even at almost 42 years old, is actually still okay, which surprises me sometimes. It's actually more of a challenge, and to me it's a lot more fun to play without the turbo controllers or without turbo on, because it's really a good test of what the arcade designers, what the video game designers were going for, which is a feat of strength, a feat of endurance. And you really don't need to do that if you have a turbo controller. It is much like a Dragon's Lair, or much like other games that don't have really a lot of gameplay to them other than a few simple button presses. With this, it requires rapid button taps, proper timing with the D-pad for throws and jumps, and endurance to be able to get through as many events as you can without making mistakes. Another big difference between the NES game and the arcade game is that you only get one life. You get one shot here in the NES game. So if there's any event that you don't qualify for, you're done. In the arcade, when the arcade games were set to marathon mode where you could play endlessly, you actually used to be able to earn free lives, as it were, so that if you didn't qualify for a particular event, you could still keep playing. That's one of the things that enabled me to play track and field arcade games as long as I wanted to, because I always had lives in reserve. What I used to wind up doing, if I got too tired or if I had to go home or whatever, I'd actually find a kid in the arcade who was looking for something to do, and I would let him finish for me. But that's how the arcade game worked. Obviously, they can't really do that at home because there's not as much challenge. If there were men, or if there were free lives in this game, I could go on and on and on and on. I probably still could, but having only that zero line of error makes every event nerve-wracking, because if you mess up in archery or you mess up in skeet shooting and you have only one attempt left, you can actually feel your heart start to race a little bit. You can feel your breathing quicken, because you know that everything you worked for, the score that you worked for, could be gone if you make one more mistake. And I think that's pretty neat. So that's track and field. There, of course, was track and field 2 for the NES. There's international track and field for the original PlayStation, which I may get in front of the camera and play for you at some point. There's also track and field for the conversion of the arcade game, or a HD version of the arcade game for Xbox Live Arcade. There's a track and field game for the DS as well that Konami come out with. Also, as a hidden gem, there is a track and field type of game for the NES from Capcom called Gold Medal Challenge 92, and that one is definitely worth a look if you can find it, because it's not all button tapping. There's a little more strategy involved, but there's enough button tapping there to feel like make you feel like you've earned any kind of victory that you get. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's run long. This isn't the next Retro Unscripted episode. That will be tomorrow, which is Thursday the 30th. But until then, thank you very much, everyone, for subscribing to my channel, for watching my videos, for following me on Twitter, all that stuff. If you're interested in doing that and you haven't yet, I'll make sure that I leave all the links below so you can follow along with me as we journey. Until the next time, you guys, I will see you on the next official episode of Retro Unscripted, I should say. Take care, everybody.